Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. Give y'all some time to tune in. I had to actually switch lives, so this one is going to be a little different tonight, and I ain't going to be too crazy. But tomorrow's live definitely. Y'all make sure y'all tune in for it. I'm gonna make sure the link is pinned in case anybody want to chime in. Um, Talk about a couple things tomorrow that definitely need to be talked about. I'm gonna basically give my reactions tonight on a couple things I've seen and heard recently. So I still give y'all some time to tune in. Hell, Billy, what's going on? Appreciate you. Keith, what's going on, my guy? Sassy baby, Susanna baby. First things first, hopefully everybody having a blessed and productive Saturday. Hopefully everybody is smoothly relaxing or smoothly enjoying a weekend overall. If you're celebrating birthdays this weekend, again, happy birthday. May y'all stay blessed. Keep creating memories. Enjoy every moment of it. You know. And if you're off this weekend, hey, enjoy yourself as you're supposed to. Appreciate everybody that tuned in Wednesday for the conversation. Um, Definitely one that was spot on with a few things. For those that missed it, you could definitely catch the replay. Um, I might as well start reacting to the first story. I might be late, but so what? I'm only late because I'm still trying to process that part too. Serious baby. Um, I know some of y'all been hearing that news about the basketball star Anthony Edwards and the child support situation. Um, Somebody had asked me earlier what I give or what was my take on it. Hustle, what's going on? My take on it overall, though, um, is I don't know. I don't know the brother personally. I don't know what his mindset is when it comes to how he deals with things. But to be quite honest, the only thing I can say is that you can't knock a man for wanting to pay up front. I mean, because I could be honest with you, who knows how that scenario will turn out? The man is still young, but this is the thing I would say for some of you brothers out there. If you don't want to have that type of scenario or situation, you just got to watch who you align yourself up with. Um, Seeing that instance right there, yes, you got a child by a basketball star, and knowing that you might not be planning on doing anything else in particular, or even if you get up with somebody, the next time you end up having a baby, it could be by a rapper, it could be by somebody in that industry. Fellas, you got to be careful of that type of woman because you know seemed like to me it was cash grab to a degree, but in the same token, you got to do better in what you doing. You're gonna be out here being wild, and I'm not condoning it, but if you're gonna be out here being wild, be protected. Didi baby, and that's the thing though. Um, everybody had their young and dumb moments. Cool. But the one thing you should remember though is trying to at least be a little more responsible and aware of your situation. Breeze, what's going on, my guy? And that's the thing though. Everybody's in the up, well, not in the uproar. Everybody seemed to be in the shot because the man said he'd rather pay all 18 years up in one fell swoop. To be quite honest with you, if this person is uh that type of individual like you're stating, then yeah, you're doing the right thing. Only because again, you ain't got to worry about the cost of lawyer fees. Oh well, she even still, bro. Even still, but that's not the only person that done got with some form of an NBA star at their age. But in the same token, you could tell that it's just a cash grab to a degree. But again, you young fellas out there, you got to be careful, especially you dealing with people who might be either a little older than you or whatever, and or shoot, even if they're younger than you, it shouldn't be that young. You dealing with somebody in your 20s, mid 20s, cool. That's all on you. But again, be safe and what you're doing. You want to be out here, living your lifestyle. You want to be free and single, cool. But again, be careful on who you laying up with and make sure protection is there at all costs. Because again, that's not a good look because when it's all said and done, and these type of scenarios right here, like prime example, who's to say if he's going to actually be in that child's life? But if he does decide to have that type of relationship and build with his child, then I'm not mad about still what he did. Listen, I'd rather pay up this whole thing right now because I'm not going to keep going through the back and forth court system. The lawyer fees are definitely hefty when it comes to dealing with scenarios like that. And it's just, hey, if he got the money to do it, let him do it. If that's really all it is, a month, if that's really what it is, a month before it's all said and done, shoot, you definitely could say, look, you paid enough child support as is. That's the thing. In some instances, it's almost like, well, damn, that means you don't plan on being in that child's life. You just gonna pay up child support. That doesn't necessarily mean that. But the man is young. The man is still, he doing this thing in the league right now. So right now, you're trying to continue to build and elevating in that, in that craft that you're performing. But I would honestly say, shoot, if you did the right thing by paying it all up front, cool. Then there shouldn't be no problem with you building some form of relationship or bond with your child. Because in the long run, that child didn't ask to be here. And that's what some of y'all got to start realizing. These children don't ask to be born into this world. But if you're going to be irresponsible, then you need to start accepting responsibility. You know? And this is the thing. When y'all trying to deal with people who don't have nothing going for themselves at all, like nothing at all, that's a problem right there. Because the minute you decide to lay a seed in that one and things go wrong, these are the type of scenarios you can get. Nah, and that's the best thing he could do right now, Breeze. Because again, think about it. Right now, if you would have just said, "All right, I'm gonna just pay the monthly," you gotta 9 out of 10 be going through court proceedings. You're gonna have to go through hefty lawyer fees because it could be situations where now, if this one is not getting no type of income at all, it's almost like you taking care of both of them. Or it'll be to a point where, well, my child needs more. My child needs more. When your child really shouldn't need but so much. That's the thing though. These type of scenarios create some real deep wounds and tensions because you gotta think about it. In the long run, the person who's really getting the short end of the stick is that child. You gotta think. It could be questions in that child mind. Well, if this is supposed to be my father, then why am I not getting this time with them? Or why is this not occurring? Things along those natures. You gotta think about that. you know. But again, some of you young fellas out there got to be careful. Doesn't matter if you're dealing with somebody in your age group or you dealing with somebody older. You know, you got to be careful, especially if you're not prepared for any of that. I think that's the smartest thing I've seen somebody do, though. Out of the quote unquote celebrities you see or always hear about going through the hassles with dealing with their baby mothers and child support. But then you got some who don't have no child support issues at all. Like prime example, TK Kirkland, the comedian. Yeah, like when girl thought he wasn't paying child support, she was looking at it from the stance of money. No, that man takes care of his responsibilities, you know? He makes sure his kids got everything that they need for school. If it's coming down to food, he making sure of that, whatever. You know, things along those lines. It's not always about the money. It's about making sure your kids got proper clothes, your kids, you know, expenses are paid for. And especially when you're dealing with medical and stuff like that, that's not cheap. Dealing with insurance and all that, that's not cheap. That is the smartest thing somebody can do, especially if they know they could do it at that present frame. Do I really want to go through all of these legal battles, court proceedings, you know, hefty fees, and then now when it's all said and done, you're draining more money trying to keep certain things afloat than you actually make it. Now, see, who knows how that situation could play out? You know, again, time will tell. You know, but I think that's a serious problem to a degree anyway for a person in their 40s to be dealing with somebody that's still technically a baby. Well, not a baby, but you know what I mean? Like, it's still a baby in age, still a baby in wisdom. Like, and that's what I'm saying. You notice when it comes to certain scenarios, and it's the opposite way around. If it's an older dude with a younger chick or that age, it would be a whole bunch of whatevers. It would be a whole bunch of things to be said. But we don't never look at the opposite side sometimes. Sometimes it don't always be the dudes doing shit. And I'm not defending nobody in nothing. I'm just saying, like, it's just common sense. Why deal with somebody that you know is way, way younger than you and basically inexperienced in life? Yo, Breeze, I'm gonna do everything. It's called making sense, damn it. Dude, like, shoot. Sometimes you gotta make sense of that because it's like, you know, when certain things occur in our community, they always again look at the men for most of the blaming. But there's people out there on the opposite side that's doing stuff too. But it's never really reported. And when it's reported, it's always some form of excuse for them. You know, and I'm not saying all of them, but there are some people out there who are just as devious as these older dudes. I'm gonna get me a young buck. I'm gonna do this. Man, listen, find somebody that's within your range at least. Because my thing is, to some degree, what kind of intelligent or what kind of conversations would be had if you dealing with somebody that's 20 years your senior or 20 years you're like, come on. What That's just like you dealing with somebody who's a virgin in life. What can that person really offer you, or what can that person tell you about anything when they haven't experienced too much of anything? You know, come on there. You know, but again, it's a two-way street with that. You know, again, some of y'all young bucks out there, and even some of you older folks, got to just be careful and wise. Again, that the protection is what it's supposed to be there for. Why you think they still make condoms? Why you think they still make some form of protection? And for some of y'all ladies, some of y'all need the contraceptives and stuff like that too, because again, it doesn't make no sense. Y'all keep having a situation where you're bringing children into the world and then you're either not prepared to take care of them, or it's the children are going to get the back end of the bullshit because it's always some form of a battle. And I'm calling it down the middle because they both was wrong at the end of the day. I don't give a damn how much lust is there, how much whatever attraction is there. Y'all got to remember, when you sitting here having unprotected sex, it only take that one good time. All it take is that pre-cum or even that. That's it. You ain't even had to get that full one off. It's enough for you. And I would advise y'all to start getting back to that. Man, listen, if that's somebody that you not planning on spending the rest of your life with or building with, there should be no reason why the condoms are being tossed to the side. That, oh, the condoms got messed up fit. So what? It's for your protection. You could be digging out something and God forbid that person already been spreading something. Now you got it. James, what's going on, my guy? I ain't messing with you, Breeze. Go sit in the corner for about 12 minutes, son. Wild out for a minute. But it's the truth though. These are things that we overlook sometimes. Now they'd have been quick to call if the shoe was on the other foot. If he'd have been in his 40s, or let's say he'd have been over 40 and she was just 20, 21, they'd have been saying a whole bunch. Oh, he's a predator. Oh, he's this. Or oh, he's that. Yeah, but you got some women out there doing the same thing, plucking these young men up. And that's what I'm saying. Taking advantage of people who ain't fully experienced, especially in life. Feeding them a pipe dream, basically. And then you gotta think about it too. When they still somewhat young in the maturity stages of that, you decide to walk off on them or try to break up with them. How you think they gonna react? So look, we see how some people act right now, and these are people that's older than 21, 25 years old. Well, you see how some people do it? Turn around and try to destroy your whole property. And that's one thing I want to speak about too. A lot of y'all got to stop with that bullshit. A lot of you men and women out there, stop with the destroying each other's properties, especially if you didn't purchase or help that person buy that shit. You know, is it true that Bronny slapped me? Oh, nah. Is it true LeBron stepped on your neck hood? I heard he ran up to you like Stephen A. Smith. What's going on, son? Come in here with that bullshit, son. I got jokes today. Clap your ass today. Oh no, but I heard your bums is getting traded though. I heard both of them getting traded to Zamunda, son. They getting traded to Zamunda International. Don't come in here with that hood. Told you, bro. You know I be on it. Nah, but you gotta think about that though. These are things that always get overlooked, but you can't overlook them. You know. Now, see, like I said, if she would have been on the other foot, we would have been looked at as predators and everything else outside the child of God. I feel when it comes to double standards, it should be on both sides because it's like everybody thinks. Prime example, I could even use it when it comes to scamming. They'll try to say, "Oh, men are the biggest scammers." No, how about there's a portion of men and women who are scammers, and I said portion, not a whole, but there's a portion of people who are out there scamming on both ends. Come on now. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Working hard than these damn cops on the corner, baby. But you gotta think about that. You of a certain age, you having a child with somebody who's younger. But then in certain scenarios, the logical sense would be it's almost like you would be raising two children. You just got one that's an adult. And that's the thing people overlook. You know, Getting with somebody who actually is on the same wavelength with you, that's always a good thing. And some people might have that. They might get that. And they say that age is not age is a number thing. Yes, it's true. Because there are some people out there who are not in the same age category, but in the same token, they're on the same wavelength. Now that right there is good to some degree. But again, when you know you pushing them barriers or you already done pushed the barrier, come on now. You should have been thinking along the lines of let me find somebody at least my age, or even if it is a little bit younger, they should still be within that age group. And that's the thing. The main victim that would be in this scenario right here, if things don't change or start, looking up, would be just that young child basically being raised with the notion of knowing that they got a father, but not actually building with their father. That's the saddest thing in the world, man. Again, to think that some of y'all out here just not caring about yourselves. You don't care who lay up in you or who you lay up in. Fellas, y'all got to start doing a little better. And there's some of y'all out there who are not in that kind of position yet. And if you're not, you better thank your lucky stars. And I think that's the most important thing to remember too, is that again, in the long run, the ones who are going to suffer are the ones that are being brought into this world. They're going to suffer because, again, there's not a strong, functioning family environment that they need to thrive off of. Now, was he right for doing what he did? But possibly. It's not so much as right. He was just smart. If I know I could pay all his child support in one fell swoop, then let me do it. At least this way, I don't have to worry about the rest of my money, being wasted or being drained because of the things that are unnecessary. But just like Breeze was saying, it gives leeway too to a degree for him to bond with that child without having to worry about, oh, you can't see your, and that's one thing too. You can't see them until you do this, and you can't see them until that. Can we really stop using kids as pawns? Like, I gotta reiterate on that. Can we stop using these kids as cash grabs and pawns? When you got a man who really is going to try to do their best to be a stern father and a loving father, let them do it. Marlene, baby. Y'all already know if y'all just tuned in at the like button. But come on now. There's people right now, who are just now meeting their father or they actual fathers, they birth fathers. Which is a sad thing because it's like that's a whole half of your life wasted. Some of them not knowing if their fathers is actually alive, unalive, or just, not where they should have been at. You got some people right now who are just finding out they had kids this whole time walking around. Don't hide them children when it comes down to what you need to do. And see, some of y'all be quick to try to throw the responsibility on somebody else only because you know the fact that you probably made a mistake with something and that person is not going to do what is necessary. I would advise some of y'all to stop trying to deal with people that you know are still married on paper, prime example. If I feel like I know you're still married, I'll see you on the other side. I'm not trying to hear nothing. That's just me personally. But that would be damn near anybody with a logical sense. If I know you're still married, even on paper, no, nope, I can't do it because I do not want to be in the midst of all that heat. Number one, and it's not going to look good. That's what I'm saying. It's like, come on now. I think that's a prime problem right now. You know, not thinking about the overall responsibility. I'm gonna keep trying to make sense, Breeze. Don't get sent in the don't get sent on timeout, son. I'm trying not to, son. I'm trying not to, son. Come on, son. Come on. You know, like prime example, what I was saying the other night about the guy basically having no support from his family nor the other girl's family about, you know, trying to gaslight and have him take care of a child or continue to take care of a child that's not his. No. See, some of y'all will put yourselves in these positions. If you already married, you already done violated your marriage by stepping outside of that holy union that you're supposed to be having. But when you're going out to do what you do, and then now you got to hear something about there could be a possibility of a pregnancy, that's a problem. You know, and that's the thing, though. You're putting yourselves in a precarious position. You got some women out there right now who wish they wouldn't have did whatever, but it's already too late. Got caught up in that heat of the moment, or you got caught up with the notion of maybe this person might leave, maybe this person might leave this person and build with me. It's the same way I said about some dudes. You put yourselves in these scenarios. Some of y'all wouldn't be going through the issue of child support or disgruntled baby mothers if you would have just knew from Jump Street to use common sense. If I know this person ain't meaning to me no well, then why would I place a seed in that person? You know, and that's the thing. If you know a person is not right for you overall, they don't have your best interest at heart. All it seems like is some form of a play or a cash grab, then why would you place a seed in them? If you know this person is all about just money and just the come up, why would you place a seed in them? Why not try to wait until you found somebody who could best fit you and best suit you? Breeze, you can't harass me, son. But I didn't forget about you though, son. I I didn't forget about you. Hold on. Yes, yeah, I forgot. You like to pop shit on TikTok too. There you go. There you go. You know, but that's the thing though. You know, you gotta remember this. It only takes that moment of gratification for you to have that severe problem of damn, I gotta basically be responsible for another life. And that's my thing. If you're not prepared for none of that, this is why you should still be with the notion of using protection. You know, and I think that is critical now more than ever that some of you men out there, because I'm noticing some of you men out there are actually doing the smart thing. You're not, chasing after certain things that no need to be chased after. Some of y'all are chasing after hopes and success. Keep chasing that. If you're in the midst of doing something that could be life changing for you, keep focusing on that. The more you focusing on things that ain't bringing you nothing, you want to keep setting yourself short. That's on both ends. Again, there's some of y'all women who will sit here and make certain scenarios, and then you'll hope that a person will come around. It's not always going to be that. and that's the problem. We take certain things for granted, but there's nothing remotely funny or there's nothing remotely even great about being an irresponsible parent or guardian, but mostly a parent. Because again, when you are planning on bringing children in the world, you should be bringing them into the world with somebody that you're going to be building with for life. Again, some of the ways that things are being done nowadays, even down to how people are hooking up, it's crazy, man. London, baby. And that's the thing. You have to always remember that part, man. You can't stop what you're doing. You can't stop your motivation and your uplifting. And you can't put yourself on the back burner just because you try to chase after things that are meaningless. All right, you want to be young and dumb, cool. Have your young and dumb or have your young fun like you're supposed to. But be careful in what you're doing. You spreading your seeds everywhere, guess what? You're going to have an issue. And there's some of you fellas who are too quick to think with your lower extremities instead of thinking with your scalp piece. Sorry to tell you that way. When you keep thinking with your lower extremities, you're going to get yourself in some BS. I'm in Chicago, baby. Who else popped up in here? My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I'm in the zone, but it's the truth, though. The worst type of thing is here it is, a child is about to be born into the world and neither parent is prepared or neither parent or going to do what's necessary to make sure a child grow up substantially. Fathers are needed in the household. Fathers are needed, period. Even if they don't live in the household. Fathers are still needed. These are your young kings and queens that you brought into this world or that you're planning on bringing into this world. How do you plan on feeding them mouths or trying to uplift them so they could take the reins in the future? And you're not giving them absolutely nothing. Again, this is important for y'all to start the blueprint the right way. Now, we know some people have made mistakes or some people found out well after the fact about certain things. We can't knock them because they really didn't know that things would turn out the way they did. But for others that had that opportunity to stop, you gotta take the accountability. Like if I know for a fact, prime example, you're for the streets, why would I try to wife you and lay any seeds in you when I know you're not gonna be faithful nor loyal or even respectful towards me as a person, period. Wouldn't work. It's the same way with some of you women. You want to give it up to the Tyrones and shit up there, but then them niggas, those are the type of ones, like I said, you putting yourself out there for, and they ain't gonna put themselves out there for you and yours. And I think that is a serious disconnect that we have as people. We tend to forget that we do have feelings and emotions, yes, but we also are going to have responsibilities if we don't do the right things while we have the time to. And seeing that could ruin a kid's life too. You know, being in a world where neither parent is visible or doing something to help uplift and raise. There are some people right now who are being raised by uncles and aunts, grandmothers, or even older siblings, cousins, whoever. Now you feel for those who were born in the stigma of drugs got both of your parents. You know, we feel for those kids because these are the type of parents that allow the drug to take over their whole entire life. You know, and I think that's the problem. Nah, it's truth though, James. What you just said is the truth. For some of them, especially some of y'all who are already on the verge of getting money, basically, you're putting yourself at risk. You know, just because you want to have that much pleasure, that will also destroy everything you're building towards. Because if you got the wrong one pregnant, best believe it's a cash grab. And this is a cash grab you don't want to have to be a part of. You know, and that's the thing though. Knowing that you're ready to take these responsibilities is a must. Can't be irresponsible. If something that we haven't learned, we should have learned from the generation before us, etc., etc. You know, we know there was some people who slipped through the cracks and they made their own beds and lied in it. But for almost everybody else, it wasn't no, I'm just with you and we just gonna have kids willy nilly and you're not gonna be a part. No. Majority of the people were trying to create that family structure and balance like they supposed to. Lucy, what's going on? You know, and the best way to destroy that a lot of times is again, and I gotta speak to my melanated folks first. They make it seem like we ain't supposed to love each other, care for each other, take care of each other, and uplift each other. They want that type of love gone. They want that type of nucleus gone, which they kind of succeeded in. You know, at one point, you got to think about it. We were the most, if not, we were the highest rate as far as, successful marriages, families, all of that. And that's the thing, though, Breeze. It works on both sides because there are some men out there who ain't shit, and the mothers ain't lying. You know, and it's sad when these type of dudes try to lie like they did something when they know they didn't do shit. They only want to be around or come around when they think that, okay, my child is about to be a star, my child is about to do this. Yeah, I could squeeze myself in. We've seen that scenario. But we've also had scenarios where the mothers have done nothing but lie and even keep the fathers away. And then the kids eventually find out the truth. That's something you shouldn't want to do neither. Again, if you know you uh with somebody, or even if you done had a child with somebody and that person is trying to do the best they can, let them continue to do that. Let them be a part of. Hey, watch your mouth about the damn motor oil. Watch your mouth, man. Watch your mouth. Don't talk about my motor oil while we in here. I'm cooking. James, pour me another cup, man. Pour me another cup. She just got me upset right now. It ain't motor oil. It's this. All you T people, yeah. All you T people sit over there in that T corner. Damn it. Man, that's the thing though. And Breeze, that's the thing though. And that's on both ends. Some of these dudes know some of the women they dealing with ain't shit, and they still will lay down, try to wife them, try to lay kids in them. And then look what happens when it's all said and done. Now it's you having a bitter battle trying to be a part of your child's life. Come on now. That shit ain't right on either end. Ladies, you know that man ain't about nothing. Ain't trying to do nothing, no goals, no inspiration, no nothing. Just all for the streets and all for this and all for that. Don't waste your time. Vice versa, fellas. Give a damn if she got a big butt and a smile. That don't mean shit. What about the overall mentality of that person? Come on there. It's only fair. Why would I, prime example, place a seed in somebody who still got a young mind when we adults? Can't do that. You can't request nothing serious. Come on now. You outnumbered. You outnumbered. Everybody in the coffee crew, you already know, put your coffee cups in the air. We in here. And put your fancy finger up too, because we in here. We in here. But this is what I'm saying. You know, not saying that you shouldn't live your life. However you decide to live your life, that's up to you. But if you're not going to be safe while doing so, just expect a whole bunch of downfalls. Kid you not. And that's the thing. Making the right type of choices. Because you got to remember, choices and decisions that can affect your future, you shouldn't be crying later. If anything, you should be smiling and happy and victorious. Marlene, don't come in here with that. See, Marlene, I knew you was gonna do something. As soon as you walked in here, it's all right.
I don't wanna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow. I just ain't tryna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow. I don't wanna go to work. I don't wanna wait tomorrow.
Come over here with that. Come over here with that. Now, see, like I said, with all of that being said, again, it's important for a lot of y'all to realize who you're dealing with, who you gonna be placing seeds with, and how that's gonna turn out. It should be about the overall picture. If I'm gonna do this with somebody, am I gonna be able to keep my half of the bargain up, which is be active, be proactive, and also just making sure my child doesn't know what failure is as far as too early in life. My child shouldn't fail to meet certain standards, even down to education. See, in some instances, prime example, some people will blame the school system for some of these kids not learning or some of these kids not prospering the way they should prosper in life. But you can't fully blame the system. You got to also blame the parents at hand because they have a hand in dealing with their children's education all around the board, whether you believe that or not. Now, again, you're going to be irresponsible, then you shouldn't be thinking about children at all. You should be thinking about protecting yourself because you are an investment, whether you believe it or not. You are your own investment. Why would I mess up my investments when I could keep my investments clean and out of harm's way? And that's the thing, though. Again, the structure of education. If you don't teach your children certain things about life when they get older or when they come to again that age and stage, they gonna be lost in the world when they get past the age of 18, 21. But again, it's sad though. Now with wrapping up that situation, I feel that's the smartest thing anybody could do that got it. If I know I could possibly pay all this up front and not have to deal with these type of scenarios, then why not do so? This way it ain't no, oh, we need to adjust the child support. We need to adjust this. No. This is what you want in a month and this is what you get in a month. Because again, to be honest with you, $5,000, that's well more than enough for a child throughout the month. And this is what I'm saying. If it's gonna be situations like that, then guess what? Again, some of you fellas take this as a fair warning. If you dealing with somebody and again you know they don't got nothing going for themselves, not even the smallest form of income, something that they can rely on, don't waste your time. Because when it's all said and done, that's exactly what you're gonna be looking at. Again, look at some of these actors and sports players right now still going through it right now. Some of them could have actually did that from jump. If this is how you want to do it, I'm gonna just pay this all up front. Now, another thing, like I said, it's just about being wise and smart in your decision making. Now, again, should you just be out there having unprotected sex? No. Especially if you know you are not prepared for anything. You're not prepared for anything. And I mean anything. You're not prepared for Pampers, baby formula, all that other stuff that goes into it. You're not prepared for none of that. So, on that notion, you should sit back and relax. When you are fully ready, not so much as financially, but mentally and spiritually, then you do what you do. Why do you think some people take a long time to decide I'm gonna really sit down and have a family? Because they used to what they're used to in life. But when it does come that time, it's what? I don't want to have no regrets. You know, Building with the right person. And when you got somebody that's close to perfect, even though we know it ain't no such thing as perfect, that should be something that you stay with. That should be something that you should be able to build with, work with, and that's it. Wait a minute, she ain't caught still for that old shit that happened in Russia, bro? Oh, that's something with I think that's something with child support. But like I said, just again, this is something some of y'all need to think about, especially those who are basically getting the bag. Basically, you don't want to take that chance laying up with somebody, and then here it comes. Now you don't know if it's gonna be, we building together and we gonna be on the same page, or if we gonna be fighting, arguing, and basically like splitting this child in half. It's not right, man. Ain't nobody trying to hear that serious. Go sit. You know what? I just tell you to go sit down and say, hey. See, you're not gonna be doing that. You know what? You're not gonna be doing that. You get one of these right now too.
Yeah, I'm out the way, yeah, I'm low, okay. Yeah, the island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. Hellcat, made his own boys and them types LA solo, okay. Everybody wanna be demon till they get chipped by your
But this is my thing though. Again, you know, when it's all said and done, You gotta try to remember that it's not easy trying to raise or take care of. We know that. But there are benefits and joy in doing so. Don't encourage no madness. I see y'all in here still laughing. Don't encourage no damn madness. There are benefits to doing so. I took benefits and, you know, doing my part to raise my brother when I had to raise my brother. And that felt good because at least I know my brother ain't out here in no street gangs. My brother ain't out here robbing and killing his own brothers and sisters. My brother just worried about doing what he need to do and living his life like most people are supposed to be doing. Worrying about certain things, but also keeping themselves safe. You know, again, there's some people who didn't get the chance to really raise their children because, again, untimely demises or they can't do much because they might be a health issue where they basically immobile. These are things that some of y'all are taking for granted. The joy of bringing children into the world, especially with somebody who was down for that ride, that's important. Doesn't matter if you get married or if you stay in that long-term relate. As long as y'all both building with these children and raising these children, that's the most important thing. To be honest, a wedding ring or an engagement ring shouldn't mean nothing. I feel like this. Marriage already starts once you decide to lay up and put a child in somebody. And you decided to let that go through. Hey, that means that's somebody you chose for life. You know? Be more wise in your decision making. For some of y'all that think it's a game, you'll find out the hard way again when you're looking at it from the other view. You're gonna realize, damn, I should have never did this, or I should have waited until I was with somebody that was worth it. And some of y'all just doing whatever, but guess what? This is why you get a lot of them stories like you get now, bitter stories about exes or this, that, and the third. But to be honest, these are people that also didn't take accountability for their own actions. There's a reason why certain things happen to you. And if you didn't see it, then you ain't gonna never see it. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You gonna keep feeding that Ninja Turtle all around the board, son. Keep feeding them. Keep feeding them. I'm on break. Told you about that. I'm on break. If you don't feed them, you might get one of these. Word, what's going on, my guy? Nah, I gotta catch it, bro. I gotta catch it. But this is what I'm saying though. It's important for some of y'all to think about your decisions. You know, think about your life decisions for real. For some of y'all, you will sit here and try to say, well, the reason why I didn't get to my fullest potential in life, and there's some people who will technically blame their kids for a reason why they're not where they should be at. But again, common sense would have told you before you thought to get to that level of doing anything, you should have been building and working on yourself in the first place. My thing is, for some of y'all, put yourselves in this scenario. What you gonna do if you decide to lay up with the wrong person and really find out they ain't shit? What you gonna do then? Now you have to focus on yourself, especially if there's a child that's about to be involved. Now you have to get it together. And if you got certain dreams and aspirations, and I'm speaking to some of the younger folks right now, you got dreams and aspirations, then focus on that. Focus on yourself. Focus on building yourself and building yourself as a brand. Work on your investment. Your investment is yourself. When you're not fully committed to your investment will start losing a little bit of everything. And I think it's critical now that you start thinking about your life. And I mean, actually thinking about it to where you won't have to continuously make these same mistakes. I can't feel bad for somebody who's consistently either getting the same type of women impregnated or the same type of men you letting ejaculate in you. Sorry, I can't feel bad for y'all because again, you had a clear decision to make. Your decision was based on your hormones and your actions at that moment. So when things take a slight turn, can't blame nobody but yourself. Can't. I knew this person wasn't about none, but I still decided to let them put a baby in me. I knew this girl wasn't about shit, but I decided to try to wife it and lay down with it. I can't feel bad for those ones because again, you still had solid options to make, and you didn't make those options. That's like you laying up with somebody, prime example, that already got more than 4 kids. What are you doing? You know, and that's the thing. Even in that scenario, again, a child is being brought into the world. Do we know if that child is going to have any form of interaction with the actual father? That's something that should be looked at again. If you're going to be a surrogate or a donor or something like that, guess what? You still have rights to that child as well too, because you're a part of that process. Keith, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Keep feeding that little nigga. Keep feeding him. You know, that's the thing though. You know, there are solid benefits to being a parent or a guardian. It's just solely up to you if you're going to continue to keep making the necessary steps. Again, ladies, some of y'all going to have to start really taking care of your mental health, but also your physical health. And some of y'all need to stop putting yourselves out there. If you're going to lay up with somebody and not know if they have a sexually transmitted disease or something along those lines, then you're asking for a world of hurt. That's on both ends. You fellas want to go laying pipe everywhere, you going to mess around and your pipe ain't going to be working no more. Either that or you could possibly end up catching something that you can't get rid of. I'm saying, like, you have to start making wiser decisions when it comes to who you decide to build with and who you decide to do things with. Now, again, with that situation being said, that's really my take on it today. Um, that's really my take on the the Anthony Edwards situation. I feel that's a smart move. But again, Hopefully that brother doesn't fall into that trap of just paying for a child and not actually being a part of that child's life and upbringing. Because it's the stigma that's placed on us now that we are not responsible fathers or we're not responsible adults. When in most cases, that's far from the truth. Sometimes you got those who are willing to do what's needed. But if you have a bitter mother, bitter baby mother, you can forget about that. If you got a bitter baby father, which is rare, even still, even when you get that, you can forget about anything good being, you know, very structured when it comes to your children. This man is out here yeah, my bad, y'all. This man is out here, and that's another thing. Uh, to avoid situations like that, my bad, y'all. This dude really just went dumpster diving. My bad, y'all. I'm not poking fun at that because I feel that's the saddest thing right there, too. To know that, you know, you're in that type of scenario and this is what you might have to do to survive. But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, too. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing, Marlene. In some instances, that's exactly what the scenario is. You know, again, because look how society has basically changed the structure of courting and dating and things along those lines. Some people think on a first date you're supposed to be paying all their bills. No, 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 no. How about I get to know you and see where we go from point A to point B? Not you worrying about me paying your bills or trying to pay your children's bills, et cetera, et cetera. Come on now. Yeah, Breeze. You know, uh, it's sad though, because I was wondering what son was doing, but because we got people out here who be collecting bottles and cans, and that's what I thought was going on until I seen them eating and drinking something. So, but it is sad that you do have people out here who are in these type of scenarios. You know, now in certain scenarios, you know, this is how they survive. These are the homeless people or the people who are just in a bad spot. That's how they survive. You know, nah, it's a whole fact, James. What you just said too. You know, but that's the thing, though. You know, my thing is on any level, you are supposed to deal with somebody who isn't with nobody. What's the purpose of dealing with somebody if you're going to end up being the side? I'll say that on both ends. Some of y'all fellas out there, what's the use of messing with somebody if you know they already dealing with somebody? Like, what's the purpose of sharing somebody? And vice versa. Some of you women too. You going after the same dudes that you know for a fact, are in either committed relationships or you going after the same men who ain't about nothing. So I'll put yourself in that scenario where you're going to be sharing that person with everybody, basically. And that's the thing, though. You know, and that's the thing. We got to get to this situation right here. Ain't it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like I said, you're gonna be a side piece. Come on now. You should be the main focus and the priority, not no side pieces, and definitely not no leftover scraps. And that's the thing though. We have to at least start again carefully calculating decisions in life. For some of y'all again, instead of that lust factor, and I'm gonna keep repeating that, instead of y'all focusing on the lust factor, you gotta focus on that trust factor. Cause yeah, I could be granted access to bust your cheeks and all of that all day long, but what are you doing for me mentally and spiritually? Because like I said, for some, y'all could just get it anyway. But again, it shouldn't always solely just be about that. Like, what are you adding to my life? You know, what are you adding to my peace and prosperity? What are you adding to that? What are you giving me as far as assurance that you won't just up and leave? Because just as easy as you can, it's just as easy as you can go. You know, like I said, got to start thinking better and start doing better. And there's a lot of y'all out there who are lucky to not be in certain scenarios and situations right now. But you better think before it gets to that. Again, you want to make sure you're dealing with somebody who is not attached or tied to anybody. At least how I would say it from the single standpoint. You want to make sure that you are with somebody who doesn't have any ties to anybody. I don't want to know that I'm with you, but you also being with somebody else in the same junction. Because then that's not being fair on all cylinders. And that's just honestly the most disrespect you can do. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, y'all already know. Y'all hear that clink, clink, clink? You know what time it is. But this is something that I wanted to bring to the light tonight, because that was part of it. I had a couple people asking me what I thought about that situation. I think I gave my honest view on it. It's smart because if you know you can take care of it, take care of it. But also, you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any important moments of your child's growth and future. So that's the only thing I have to say as well, too. Again, if you're not going to be loyal to somebody, if you're not going to do right by them, then don't bother being with them. Period. My bad, y'all. I don't own none of this music over here. Play that funky music, bitch. I do not own that music, so I don't want to hear nothing. Nothing at all. I felt like I was on a damn cruise ship right now. you know, you know. But that's the most important thing to remember. Fellas, again, unprotected sex with somebody that you don't have nothing serious with, or ain't going further than. That's gonna be your downfall. Laying up with somebody that you know is only out for a quick come up, that's a no go. Laying up with somebody, period, that doesn't have your best interest at heart is never the right option. Same thing with you ladies, you know, and that's a whole fact, serious. That's why I said, young fellas, think before you do things. And if you still gonna be buck wild, you better be protected at all times. And also remember this factor here. Remember that old thing motherfuckers was doing, and they still somewhat doing it now, poking holes in condoms. You gotta make sure everything is wrapped up and make sure there ain't nothing that shouldn't be, leading to a scenario of I'm pregnant. I ain't messing with you, Breeze. No, but it's the truth. And even like I said, the fathers who are being involved with their children, y'all doing the right thing. Because again, these are your young kings and queens. And if you ain't teaching them nothing of subtlety and value, they ain't gonna never learn nothing. If you're not teaching them responsibility, and yes, sex is a gratification, but it's also a responsibility. Because again, you be irresponsible, you lay up in the wrong person, you can end up either catching something or getting that 9 months later. Now, if this is somebody that you are building with collectively and y'all not going nowhere, y'all down for the ride, then hey, let it be all the gratification in the world and let y'all be fruitful and multiply. And that's the thing though. So I said fathers are definitely needed because if you look in some of the scenarios right now, like the other night I told y'all, or shoot, a while back I told y'all, I had to kick some young girls off of my job. My thing is again, it's 3 in the morning. None of y'all over the age of 12 or 14 or even 15. What are you doing out so late? Why ain't either one of your parents getting on you about that? Seeing some of y'all allowing these children again to do certain things, and again, they are not mentally or spiritually prepared for a lot of that. You want to avoid your children from being out there being young and hot. You better make sure you on their neck about certain things. You know, because again, if you want to allow your children to be out and about, you want to give them that form of leniency and let them hang. You better make sure you know what they're getting into. And if you think something could be wrong or something don't seem right, follow your instinct. We get tired of stories and scenarios like this. You know, it makes no sense. Get in your children's life and make sure that your children are growing the best way that they can. Make sure they are growing prosperously. Teach them what you need to teach them. And that's the thing. This ain't no OG call. It's a common sense call. For some of y'all, please start using your common sense and using your logic when it comes to what you're doing. And again, if you're going to be running wild and trying to sow your quote unquote oats, it better be with the right person. It is time for structure to come back. The more structure, the better, you know, because to be quite honest with you, any any parent who is willing or is going to allow children that are under their age to be out all hours of the night, you setting yourself up and you setting your children up for failure. Look how many times we have stories of young men and women losing their lives just because instead of them being home, they want to be here, there, and everywhere else. Can't forget about that, man. You cannot forget about that. And that's why I said it's important. Start getting more proactive and definitely getting more active in your children's activities and everything. Now, one thing I'm about to touch up on to some degree, and I know everybody was talking about that too, but I'm gonna give my 2 cents on it only because I just feel like giving my 2 cents on it. That Marvin Sapp situation. Everybody was going to the woodworks with that story. And that's right. That is facts right there, serious. The parents are supposed to definitely be having these talks with their young ones because, again, your child is not grown. Your child is not old enough to drive a car. Your child is not old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes. Your child is not older to travel and do all these other things like adults are. Why are they making adult decisions? Or why are they almost forced into making adult decisions? That's something that needs to be asked. And for some of you parents, you're not teaching your children because you're busy trying to live your second childhood, basically. That childhood memory and all that other stuff y'all be trying to live, uh, y'all remember that shit is over with once kids are involved. You know, it's like I was telling y'all recently, kid shot himself and come to find out, only shot himself because they was trying to go after somebody that did the wrong recently. But again, parents, you got to get on top of your game. You need to make sure that your children are not in the midst of any type of scenarios where it would cause for somebody to do something to them. But then again, like I said, we do have people in our hoods who claim to be the bully or claim to be the tough guys just because they come from a family of people who actually do certain things. But it still gives you no right to do certain things to people when they haven't done nothing to you. You know, and that's the thing. This is something that some people should really take for a lesson. Make sure your kids are in the best spirits. Make sure they're not being harassed or accosted by anybody that they shouldn't be, even adults. Because yes, there are some adults who are still doing that, living by that code of I'm gonna pick on any and everybody, or I'm gonna do any and anything to anybody, and nobody can't do nothing. Ain't fair, you know. Now, back to this notion right here. Uh, the SAP situation. Now, I seen that homie came out and tried to explain whatever he was trying to explain. But this is what I'm saying. When certain things like that, you taking more than a few days to try to correct something or try to do damage control, that's a problem. But I honestly feel like this to a degree. It's the way, I ain't gonna lie, it's the way his tone was. Close the doors, close the doors. That would make anybody kind of paranoid. Like, wait a minute, why is it close the doors, lock the doors? You know, if you're supposed to be serving a higher power, to be quite honest, if you are collecting tithes and offering, that is supposed to go towards whatever it's supposed to be going towards as far as for the church and the missionary, not for your own pockets or not for whatever. And again, some of y'all, even with that, it's like a cash grab. I'm gonna get these people to come to this church. I'm gonna get them to empty their pockets, and I ain't gonna do nothing with what they gave me. I ain't gonna do nothing what I was supposed to do with what they gave me. That's in some instances. Some of y'all are going to churches and you kind of like funding the pastors and stuff. But my thing is, to be quite honest, even from the logical standpoint, if you want to be technical, the old ways of the church, these pastors wasn't getting paid by the congregation. That these people were getting paid because they was already working. So some of the stuff you see, this is probably stuff that they was already building on. Because not every pastor is taking collections and just funding their pockets. There are some who are taking that money and actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And again, you got those who are living a certain lifestyle because they were already living a lifestyle before they decided to do that. And that's what I'm saying. I don't understand that. You know, my thing is, it's the way you present certain things. It's the way your tone is. You know, and the way his tone was, almost anybody would have said, "Well, damn, you trying to hold us hostage until we give up some money?" See, this is kind of one reason why some people don't go to church, because they see that this is what it is in certain scenarios. Money, 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 money. If this money is not going towards what it's supposed to come to, and you're only supposed to collect tithes and offering once a month, technically. But if you collecting tithes and offering every week that you come to church, that's a problem. You know, like I said, it's kind of eerie because even when it comes down to that, it'll make people think twice about doing anything. Like, nah, we can't do this. Like, nah, this ain't it. You are supposed to be coming to quote unquote praise the spirit and just get the good word, right? But again, it shouldn't be every week you're taking a collection. It should be once out the month you taking a collection. Whatever you're building towards, whatever you're trying to build towards, you also supposed to quote unquote have those funds to do so. And that's the thing. You know, Technically the pastor or whoever of that congregation is supposed to have some form of a job, not just solely collecting and taking money from the quote unquote flock, you know. But I feel like this. If that was something old, you should have jumped in front of that eons ago. That's one thing I can say. Is if that video was old like he said it was, and this happened whenever, you should have jumped in front of that. Knowing there could be a possibility it will pop back up at some point, especially if it was videotape. Yeah, now you gotta do damage control. For some people, it don't matter how much damage control you try to do, it ain't gonna work because it's already out there. Again, some of these churches got to take that into consideration too. Right now, with the influx and with the way everything is going right now in this country, not everybody gonna be able to afford to keep every week here. Let me give you this. Let me give you this. Let me give you this. And whatever little bit they do give, that's supposed to be the most important. It doesn't matter what you give as long as you're giving something, right? I could have had nothing but $1 in my pocket. If I'm giving you my last dollar, that should tell you something. I hear you, Breeze. That's the thing. Y'all have to take into consideration again, things are definitely changing financially and with the economy. Be wise. If you want quote unquote do this, if this is what you're planning on doing, supposed to be leading the people to the right, then guess what? It shouldn't always involve money. You should be doing it because it's coming from the spirit and from the heart, not just because you think it could be a cash grab or this would be an easy way to manipulate the people. You know, but I feel like this to a degree. It didn't matter if it happened last year, 2 years ago. That's something that if it was a possibility it could leak out, shit jumped in front of it. So now this way, you could have at least said, well, look, this was the scenario right here. But again, it was the tone. It was the lock, close the doors, close the doors, close the doors. When you keep saying stuff like that, now the only times I know the pastors to really say close that door, shut that door, is if they know it's nothing but noise outside and they're trying to do what they do, the preaching or whatever. Because I've been in certain churches where if it's too loud outside, close that door, man. That's different. But when you're saying close the door, it almost sounds like y'all remember that movie. Y'all remember when he did the spoof on "Don't Be a Menace to South Central" when the pastor went in? Don't ask. I said don't ask. That's exactly what it was sounding at one point. It was sounding almost like that, like cash grab. I'm a say a few words. I'm gonna say some things to get y'all hype, and then I'm gonna get y'all to open up your pocketbooks and everything else. If you gonna be quote unquote leading the flock to the right, then again, it should be done from the spirit and not from the money aspect of things. Just being real now. But again, for some of y'all, like I said, you just gotta use your common sense and your logic when it comes to certain things. When certain things seem under some form of scrutiny, or when you see that certain things just ain't adding up right, that's your time to decide what you're gonna do from there. Only thing I could say in that situation is hopefully some of you pastors and you younger ones who are getting into that field or into hopefully y'all learned something from that. There's some things you're not going to be able to say and do, especially when you're being recorded now, and think that you're not going to have to at some point answer for it. But if you're doing everything accordingly and by the book, then you don't have much to worry about. But yeah, the only thing I can say is that looked like bad work right there. But again, it all depends on how the people in that scenario take it. Now, again, those people who were there probably felt the type of way. Like, why is he making sure that the doors are closed? Why is he talking about closing doors and closing doors and closing doors? What if I got to get up and go to the bathroom? You going to tell me close the door? Like, that's the thing. You got to think about it, man. You don't know how these people were feeling at that moment when you was doing what you was doing. So you have to take accountability. You know, and if you didn't need the money like you say you didn't, then what was the purpose on almost holding everybody hostage? And if you got the money or the assets to do something, oh, as a matter of fact, I think he part of what's the name? He part of something with Al Sharpton. Why you ain't ask Al Sharpton to loan you something? Why you ain't ask Al Sharpton for a little help? He probably could have helped you with that. I think it's something that he dealing with Al Sharpton. That's what I'm saying. Some of y'all in positions where you got people who could, if not financially help you, they could help you in certain scenarios the way you could be straight. So why you ain't asking these people? You know, that's what I'm saying. You can't say that you don't need something, but then the same token, you begging the people for it. You know, so like I said, sometimes, we just gotta look at certain things for what it is. When something don't seem right, don't seem overall from the spirit, you gotta move away from it. You know? You know, just we gotta start learning to think for ourselves and, know what's best for us. And that's what I'm saying. You gotta be real about that. You don't need it, don't ask for it. Don't beg for it. But if you know it's needed and you know you financially can't take care of it at that juncture, then that's when you do whatever. Or shoot, do a fundraiser. Listen, we raising up money for this. You'd be surprised. Some of the people will come through and help you out, whatever they can help you out with. If they can't help you out with money, they could probably help you out with cooking or hosting the event or doing whatever. Everybody got to play their parts and positions in life. You know? But that's my thing, though. Like I said, just you know, start looking at things, from a bigger perspective. If these are people who are multimillionaires or claim that they got money, then they shouldn't be looking for the people who are having problems right now to always donate to the cause. Everybody's having some form of financial bond. Y'all remember when that situation happened with Oprah and The Rock? Oprah's a billionaire and The Rock is a multimillionaire. No way you was looking for people to donate and help when that situation happened in Hawaii. No way. Why you both ain't put your monies up together and do what was necessary? And for some of y'all who know you can do it, do it. Do it because you know it's right. Especially if this is a place that you was born and raised. You mean to tell me you would let your home go in shambles because you refuse to put up some of your money? And if you got all these investments and stuff like that, then it's not hard to, even if it's borrowing from one of those, let me borrow this so I could try to put this towards this. Or let me write a check and make sure that this check is not going to bounce. And I'm going to also make sure that this check is going to what it's going towards, period. For some of y'all, when you start seeing that certain things are only just about money and not about overall quality or overall production or just something that's beneficial overall for the people, that's when you decide to move away from it. But you just got to start doing better. That's it. Start doing better, start moving better, start thinking better, you know? And again, not allowing society to think for you. And tomorrow's conversation, we definitely gonna touch on something. Gonna touch on some safety things that are needed, some safety measures and tips. Because apparently some of our brothers and sisters are going elsewhere doing things and it's costing them a pretty penny. But I'll definitely get into that convo tomorrow. Tonight was just a couple of little reactions to the stories that, I've been hearing about. Like I said in the beginning of this first uh situation, I believe that was the smartest thing any person could do. If I know for a fact this person ain't trying to really whatever, all right, well, I'm gonna do it this way. So this way there is no cash grab. There is no you gotta keep gaining and earning. You need an increase on this, you need an increase on that. Because I feel like this. Some of y'all being absurd with the situations that you're getting into. Laying up with people just because you think they got money, and that they gonna be able to take care of you and yours. If you ain't planning on being with that person might not build with you the way you think they're gonna build with you. That's something that y'all need to be careful for. Angela, baby. Oh, we got a troll in here? We got a troll in here? Wait a minute. Troll drop, wait a minute.
What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They talking about none.
Yeah, that's gonna be one of they troll drops every time they come in. How much you want to bet that person said chump? Like I said, whoever's still using that word chump in 2025, kill yourself.
What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They ain't talking about none. What they talking about? They talking about none.
Because that's exactly what they talking about. If y'all got something to say or something you want to talk about, hey, I'll drop the link again. No. Well, they only gonna get met with this
Porn
too.
causes brain damage.
That's what they gonna get caught with too. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, tomorrow we definitely gonna chime in on some safety protocols for both men and women. Cause some of the stories that I was seeing too is just kind of outlandish, but it's also pretty idiotic in my opinion. Because you could cost yourself freedom or even your life. And you need to think twice. But we're gonna definitely have this conversation tomorrow. Um, Before I do get up out of here, again, I want to take the time to thank everybody who's been a part of the conversation. Still, and appreciate everybody who's been a part of this build overall and still a part of this build. There are gonna be some people that you're gonna see come and go throughout here, but the main ones will always remain. And that's solidness right there all around the board. No switch ups, no none of that. You good, Angela? You good? You good? I still got a couple minutes on here. It's only because I gotta really be watching these cameras to some degree. Apparently, it's still foot traffic out here. And damn it, it was supposed to be raining right now. Shoot. For those again celebrating birthdays, we didn't forget about you. And if you are celebrating this weekend, continue to keep celebrating. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself healthy. Uh oh, wait a minute. For uh, for those who like the troll though, but they really need to get out and do some exercise. Get up out your basements if the weather is nice. Get off of social media and YouTube and anywhere else and go outside and actually get some great air. Go learn something about yourself. Go invest yourself in something. Trying to troll me, that's not a good investment. Think about it. All this time you try to troll me when you could have been doing something important in your damn life. No, no. For the email that's coming.
Not my problem, that's just not my problem. Not my problem, that's just not my problem.
No, Angela, wait a minute. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Come get your nephew Fernando.
Not my problem, that's just not my problem. Not my problem, that's just not my problem.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all get him. Oh yeah. Keith, don't forget about your dancing nephew.
Is that too obvious? Okay, I like your confidence. Oh, that's what the comments, okay.
Come in here with that damn madness. And I didn't forget. I forgot. It was supposed to be Friday Eve yesterday, but we're gonna give you a Saturday night vibe.
Don't give in, trust me, cause take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in, trust me, cause take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in, trust me, cause take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in.
Oh, and since we want to come in chat saying some next shit. Oh, I don't think I didn't see what you said neither. Yeah, you know what I was getting ready to say, but I forgot. I gotta watch my mouth. I got to watch my mouth. But I didn't forget about this though.
See? Locked up. Scars pivot, gets into the edge and wins by you. And Huckleberry still leads on his own.
So if you was trying to quote unquote jerk off, you little nasty bastard, hopefully you got your little 10 seconds up there. Pause that real quick for yourself. Pause it for yourself. Just pause it for yourself. Rat bastards. I keep telling y'all gotta pay me to troll, right? Now I'm gonna be a fuck nigga. When that Cash App is up, bitch, you wanna come troll, you better hit that Cash App, ho. But I forgot y'all ain't got no cash because y'all don't work. I forgot unemployed Floyds. I forgot. My bad. Hold on. Yeah, my bad. My bad. You know, like I said, some of the things these people say is just hilarious to me. It really is. I think I was supposed to do this though. Get your asses up out of here. Take one of these. There you go. Now I feel a little better. Hopefully that helped you too, motherfuckers. Just and y'all always wait towards the end. Bitch, say something in the beginning. Damn, make me feel special. Make me feel special. But I forgot y'all can't. But I got something that's gonna make this right. You can't fuck with somebody with this type of mind frame. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But here.
Motherfucker.
Remind me to keep dancing free in your mind. I think it's better. Yeah, I know. Dancing rent free in these hoes' minds. Even on a Saturday, prime example. Y'all niggas not getting no money. Y'all not out here getting no honeys, but you worried about somebody. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Yeah, I be talking about miserable people. But I'm gonna give you the best. I'm gonna give you the best I could give you right now. Hint, 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 hint. Hold on one
My
second.
muscles are getting bigger. Oh, yes, the muscles. The muscles are getting big from the pump.
Yeah, now I feel better. Wait, no, I don't.
Shit.
Okay, now I feel a little better. But yeah, it's the truth though. And y'all know what I'm saying is truth though. Motherfuckers is not getting no monies. You not getting no honeys. You not getting nothing. But you think you getting something out the troll method. No, no, no. Poor little takes. Poor tink tinks. No, take one of these. Yeah, I know y'all love me. Y'all love me so much. Y'all love me so much that y'all can create a million different names and still be foolish. Let me give y'all something for y'all troubles. Nah, they love me. They really love me.
Can't take that dick, wait your turn. In my own lane, we can't merge. So with no hands, you can learn. Let's see how much you can earn.
One more again.
Can't take that dick, wait your turn. In my own lane, we can't merge. So with no hands, you can learn. Let's see how much you can earn.
Mm-hmm. But for those again celebrating birthdays, don't worry. You might catch me dancing just like this somewhere down the street. Uh-huh. And full coward.
Second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off.
Yeah. Definitely have to turn a lot of y'all TVs off. Yeah, we gotta turn y'all computers off too, cause shit. One more again from Dry Pucket motherfucker.
Second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off.
Just remember one thing though, for some of y'all. It's not hard for somebody to really either get your IP or your full address. And I don't gotta be no FBI agent to do it neither. But just remember that though. At some point you'll see me in life. You might have to see me in life. And when you do,
Second bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas, but somebody gotta do it. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off.
it just won't be slow motion when you see me coming at your scalp. So just remember that part. Ladies, let's get to dancing.
She want me on me like no. Sorry girl, but you gotta go. Sorry girl, but it's too much. It's too much. It's too much.
We had to have a little bit of fun. We had some good conversations tonight, doing some reactions. And yeah, I ain't got no damn sense, but I did make sense today. It would be wise for some of y'all in that scenario, if you feel that's what you're going to do to offset everything and not have to worry about legal fees and stuff, you better take the Anthony Edwards approach. But to avoid even having those type of scenarios at all, just make sure you laying up with the right person. You know, serious, I ain't messing with you. There ain't no need to. Because like I said, cowards are gonna do coward things anyway. When you know you really about your shit, if you feel you got something to say or something you want to bring to the conversation, when that link was dropped the pin, you had all opportunities to do so. So now what you're doing is just wasting time. So I got some time to waste. I still got a couple minutes left. Got a couple minutes left. Couple minutes left. But remember seeing this in your sleep.
Hello.
And anytime you could think to come into a chat and that's the first thing you...
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Punk ass bitches. My bad, y'all. My bad. I told y'all. Oh, don't worry. There's still some more coming. And there's some more coming. And some more coming. But, I don't make no damn sense. Hold on. I forgot about this. I forgot about this. I forgot. This is going to be another troll drop.
All I ever wanted was a black grand national. Fuck being rational, give them what they asked for. It's not enough. Few solid niggas left, but it's not enough. Few bitches that are really stepped, but it's not enough. Say you bigger than myself, but it's not enough. I get on their ass. Yeah, somebody gotta do it. I make them niggas mad. Yeah, somebody gotta do it. I take.
Yeah, I ain't got no damn sense. But this is where I think I'm going to be feeling from now on. I'm going to be feeling like this wild, wild western. I got to get my shotgun and everything else ready.
So why the fuck you always up to something?
And for anybody that just don't get down with the content or just ain't getting down with the all in all talks or just don't get down with me, period. There you go. Now I feel better. James, you're right. They need to be out here doing this.
Oh yeah, no you love it, muscle lips. Let's go. Lap it up, you hungry son of a bitch. Whoop! Sorry.
Get a handle on your frisbee, college boy.
Oh, you do not want to go.
See, the people was trying to get the wrong version of me out. I know. Every time they come in here with madness, but they forgot they can't get this part of me no more.
These niggas talking out of their neck. Don't put no coughing out of your mouth. I'm way too paranoid for a threat. Hey, let's get it, bro. DOT, the money, power, respect. The last one is better. Say yes, a lot of goofies with a check. I mean, I hope them sentiments symbolic.
Yeah, I was trying not to have my eyes glowing, but you know. But I think word is still somewhere in the shadows home. Yeah, I know. Oh, I was supposed to use this for your new birthday drop, and I still might.
What the hell?
Stop saying that.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
Stop.
What the hell? What the hell?
There you go. I think that might be your new birthday drops. Who knows? It might be a new birthday drops, but that's just because you know what it is when it comes to me.
That make me crazy. That make me crazy. That make me crazy. Possibly.
Yeah, you know. And all the real ones know, but guess what?
Mom, I just won an Oscar.
No, I ain't got no damn sense. Oh, Wait a minute. I actually do got sense. Hold on.
I rock like pebble, jump through your sheet. You hear this beat? Coming like heavy metal. If you got a business, bro, please say.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. I ain't got no more damn sense. Oh, Easter's coming up soon. For those who wasn't aware of the new one, hold on.
Shining once again, ran it up. I told her mama slide in my DMs. Nah, right.
Yeah, you know, I ain't got no damn sense, y'all. I told y'all to take my shit. See what happens when y'all don't take accountability and y'all don't take my damn device? You get shit like this. Yeah, see, that's what happens though. And that's exactly what's gonna continue to happen. And I think I'm gonna have to put some more up here at some point. And I will. And I will. I told y'all niggas there's more coming. And there's more coming. And this song says it best. Oh. And for the trolls that's still sitting in the background that really don't have nothing to do with themselves.
I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle. What do you think about that? I turned myself into a pickle!
There you go. There you go. Didi, what you laughing at? See, you stay co-signing something, Didi. See? And I was trying to be nice with you, Didi. See, now, and now you got to get one of these too. See, I was trying to avoid everybody getting one of these clips. But apparently, nobody listened. Right? Nobody listened. So here.
Bounce back, take a loss, get her right back. She get tossed around, moving like that. Outside with the demon. Eliantte almost made me drown, but I'm breathing. I had to lose to win. Then I told myself I never lose.
Yeah, I know. I told you. There was more coming. And there was more coming. And yeah, there was more coming. But we gotta give some fake life to the ones who have no life. One more again for the hoes in the back. There you go. I feel a little better now. Apparently, I had to get one of them clips because they was talking about trying to get rid of my ass. But it's all good. Now I had to mess with y'all for the remainder, but I ain't gonna hold y'all all night neither. I gotta be an adult. But let me be an adult while I'm doing this.
Dance, come on, do the cha-cha. Shorty Spanish, so she like to call me Papa. True fact, everything I do, they call it Flocka. All they do is copy me, I call them Walker. She get...
There you go. And if you're enjoying the weekend off like you're supposed to
dance, come on, do the cha-cha. Shorty Spanish, so she like to call me Papa. True fact, everything I do, they call it Flocka. All they do is copy me, I call them Walker. She get...
There you go. And for those, I gotta knock out the ballpark.
You know how great I am. I don't have to tell you about my strategy.
There you go. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody that tuned in. And again, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with the conversation. But let me get my ass up out of here. Y'all was new to the channel. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout outs to the replay game. Shout outs to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. And for everybody that was in attendance tonight, y'all already know that love is love and it'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake, All we do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real builds. And I'm gonna also leave y'all out of here with some good vibes and some more good vibes before I get up out of here. Let me drop 2 more on your asses real.
That head good with a slick mouth. That head good with a slick mouth. You better not run up on me. If you do, then I'ma trip out. You better not run up on me. If you do, then I'ma trip out. 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 You better not run up on me.
Yeah. No, they came back in here too late. No. They'll be all right. They'll be all right.
Porn
But
causes
yeah.
brain damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Old motherfuckers, man. Yeah. Serious, I can't give my energy to old motherfuckers that's still using Trump in 2025. So while they could say that word and possibly try to update vocabulary, which I know is impossible, but I don't care. So I'm gonna be living rent free in your mind. Just remember when I said this.
She want me on me like no. Sorry girl, but you gotta go. Sorry girl, but it's too much. It's too much. It's too much.
And go on about your business. Go on about your business. Oh. And yeah, let me leave you with the last one for the
I'm gonna
night.
keep it 100 with you. I normally don't ask girls stuff like this until they tell me they're pregnant. What's your name?
The brain is pregnant now, thinking about me. But y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. And until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.